Hi everyone, Sailor Moon here, Serena here, and Sailor Venus here, Mina here, Sailor Hellworld here. And today we're going to talk about folks out there who want to know who came first. Now, some folks will say, now this is a really weird thing, but the truth is that hidden name Sailor V was the first book to be written and drawn by Nako Takaguchi, which showed up in drawing books, funny books, monthlies, I guess, as early as what, between 91 or something like that. I don't know. And I know that uh that it only had two followings, but they for long it only had two books to its name. And the truth is, the Toei business, seeing how beloved the Sailor V books were doing, asked Naku Takaguchi if she could do another book, that she could write another saga of books and draw them. And she said yes to that. And then worked out a deal between her and her filleter that she worked for at the time and Toei business. And it became, you know, beautiful or pretty Keeper Sailor Moon, or only known as Sailor Moon. And the Toei business would then take that and offshoot into a drawing show that would run from 9 between 92 YL to 9 between 95 YL, even though the books themselves were being written and drawn between 9 between 92 YL to 9 between 95 YL themselves. A lot of Sailor Moon followers always, wonder, why is it that Sailor Venus over here, Sailor Hellworld, why does she look like me a little and behave like me? Well, the only thing I could come up with is that in the beginning, Nako Takaguchi was offshooting Mina as her standalone self, but then when she got the thought of making Sailor Moon after her for Layer and the Toei business talked her into doing Sailor Moon books, she then chose to come up with someone who would kind of look like Mina, behave like her a little, but would be her own self. Now, some folks might not know that she offshooted my mother and father and my brother Samuel, offshooted from her mother and father and her brother when she was growing up. Some folks don't know that, some folks do. And a lot of folks might think that that one meant that I was nothing more than a twin, a look-alike, a double digger, an offshoot. But I can tell you there are some things about me that are not kind of really the same, but are not. I mean, we both got the same tropes, right? I mean, we're both known for being lazy, being ditches, being sob babies, being late to getting the steads, mostly learn, I guess. And we both had, talking cats. Hers being Artemis, the white cat, and mine being Luna, the black cat. And if you need to put in this, yeah, you're right about that, Sailor Moon. Because by the time your drawing show happened, 9 between 92 YL to 9 between 95 YL, my books had already been written and drawn already. And then in Sailor Moon's world, there already were film games, and there was going to be a drawing film, which we never really did get to see, but they were working on working on a drawing film and Sailor Moon show, if you understand what I'm talking about. And it's true that I do have some of the same tropes that Serena Sailor Moon has, being lazy, being a ditz, being a klutz, being a saw baby, sometimes getting late getting the seds, mostly learn, we would say, and having a white cat that talks, having a cat that talks, but instead of being a girl cat, he's a boy cat, and instead of being black, he's white. Well, and mostly fighting the same kind of foes, because my books start out when I was living in England, the 4-1 Kingdom, fighting the Dark Kingdom's arm there known as the Skill Business. And they were just an arm of the Dark Kingdom, which was already doing things all over the world. And the Might Keepers, there already was an arm of the Dark Kingdom that was doing wrong in North Vinland, the 4-1 Reichs and the Settled-land. Then there was an arm of the Dark Kingdom that was doing things in Evenland, the 4-1 Kingdom. And there was an arm of the Dark Kingdom, the main arm, doing shit in the Far East, Dawnland. So my books had already been drawn and written around the time that Sailor Moon's drawing show and drawing film were being made by Toei Business. So yeah, I do happen to have some of the same tropes that Serena Sailor Moon has. And some of my friends do just happen to look a little like Serena's friends from Sailor Moon. But that doesn't make me a knockoff, and it doesn't make her a knockoff of me. Now, some folks might then get in their head and say, well, does that mean that Ernest, a Sailor Earth, Sailor E, is a knockoff of you? Well, yes and no. He kind of isn't. We're really, yeah, but we're mostly talking about us right now, but yeah. So when you really think of it, my drawing books, my funny books, I guess you would call them, came out first before Sailor Moon's funny books came out. And even kind of right around before her drawing show and drawing films came out. Yeah, you're right about that, Mina. You're right about that, Sailor Venus, Sailor Hellworld. I mean, you were the first of the inners to awaken, long before I awakened, long before Amy awakened, or Ray awakened, or Lita awakened, long before Ernest awakened. I mean, Mara Michelle and Trista may have been the first elders to be awakened. So yeah, and long before Ernest being the last of the inners to be awakened, and Taru being awakened years later, and Calvin being awakened years later. But yeah, so that's just some things that some folks may have known, because I guess it is out there on the interweb, so it's not like I'm just, making this shit up. So, yeah. What can I say about one of my good friends who just happens to have a talking cat like I do, who just happens to have the same tropes I do, just happens to be fighting the same Dark Kingdom that I was fighting? Well, what can I say? Not much, Am I going to bitch and rant? Am I going to scave? Am I going to say that my good friend was not onlooking my ownership and double right to myself? I would think that would be non-wise right there. Non-wit right there. Yeah, and I could go the same way. Could I say my good friend Serena, who just happens to have a talking cat like I do, just happens to have the same tropes I do, just happens to fight the same Dark Kingdom I did, and just happens to have the same friends that I have? Would I be so bold to say that she was not onlooking my ownership and double right to myself? That would be non-wise right there. I mean, there are a lot of selves out there that kind of behave like other selves. I mean, like Ernest P. Worrell, who is, or Pee Wee Herman, or Gilligan, just to name from Ace Ventura, just to name some selves who have the same tropes. That some folks could say that, yeah, they might be offshooting from, someone else or something. So anyway, it is what it is. And if you like this film, then give us your thoughts on, did you ever read my books, Hidden Name Sailor V? Did you ever read Sailor Moon's books? Did you wish that Toei Business would then do a Sailor B drawing show? off the two books that were drawn and written by Naoko Takaguchi, well, let me know about that. We'll see you later.